Good morning. Just about heading into afternoon. Thank you so much. We've had a great morning of presentations, and I certainly like the sound of that home brain, especially if I can switch mine off. My name is Gillian Parker, Principal and APAC Sustainability Lead for Economist Impact, which is part of the Economist Group. And I just want to welcome you to today's discussion. This discussion will explore some of the innovative strategies and insights on how businesses can not only overcome those sustainability challenges, but really lead the charge in sustainability. And I'm very pleased to welcome our distinguished panel with us today to share their experiences and some of their practical approaches in business. First up, we have David Rocaberti, photographer at large. Jonathan Partouche, Special Advisor to the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs Sustainable Development. Tassaman Ho, General Manager at Longi Green Energy Technology. Dr. Howard Chiang, ESS R&D Director at Midea. And finally, Chris Southgate there at the end, ESG Lead at Microsoft. Welcome. Thank you so much. So, David, I'll start with you. I imagine that through photography and through the lens of your camera, you have seen and witnessed the impact of climate change on the natural environment. Perhaps you could just give us a little bit of a background.
Yes, indeed, I have. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for bringing me here. It's really a pleasure to be talking about one of my favorite topics in front of such a great audience. So I'm a professional photographer, and I have been traveling through the Arctic area for quite a long time right now. And I noticed one specific place I would like to introduce you. So let me stand up so please. I will show you, because I think these pictures require some explanation. So as I told you, I have been traveling through the Arctic area. And there's this single place, which is the lagoon of Jökulsárlón in Iceland. It's placed in the southern east part of the island of Iceland, and it has been forming for the last 80 years due to global warming. So the thing is that it's such a paradox for every one of us that such a beautiful place can be indeed product of our malpractice in terms of environment. So let me tell you a little bit about the pictures. So this is the lagoon. This is how it used to look like in 2015. So you had all those bags of ice just nearby the lagoon. So it was the surface. It was already big, but in the last few years, it has been increasing quite a lot. So, I took this picture at once. It was during the night, believe it or not, because I took the advantage of the summer, of the Arctic summer, with the never-ending light. So I found those guys over there just practicing some stand-up paddle, and I thought it would make a nice picture comparing the size with the rest of the environment. So. All the lagoon, all the icebergs that breaks from the main chunk from the glacier, they end up stranded on a nearby beach, which is they go through the smallest river in the area. So and they get stranded over there, just waiting for the ocean to swallow it. And well, I think it was a nice image to take. This is the scale of an actual human being, and this is how it looked like in 2015. The next picture, it's not an actual one, it's just a recreation, it's illustrative. So how the iceberg looks like from the surface and also from the depth. And these the last two pictures I'm talking about, I took them recently last April. So in which you can see that there's no ice over there. So the lagoon has been growing insanely for the last few years, and it's what it looks like if you're lucky enough to see the northern lights over there. So my point here is like this place it's a nice sight to behold, but also it's a stark reminder of our actions as far as global warming, because this lagoon is growing up quite a lot, has been growing up lately, and we should take some conscience about it. So the effect is not only, it might look like this place is so far away from us, but what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. So it affects us in a way. So I don't know. We are living in a global world in which everything happening in one place will affect the others. So local communities who live in the seaside are facing right now this problem. So whenever there's a problem, it comes a solution. And here, I like to send out one slogan I heard once that it goes like, there is no planet B. So, and it's also a wake-up call. It's like something to get us together to fight global warming and to say, all right, there's no alternative place we can go to. So Earth is our home, and I think, and I hope, together we'll find a solution. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything about what happened in the last 80 years when this lagoon has formed, or every melting glacier in the world. But we can take action now, and this is what we should do. So
thank you,
thanks
David.
for your attention.
Thank you, David. Thank you for sharing these pictures. And again, yes, of course, a stark reminder that the time for action is now. And of course, Asia is on the forefront of that climate crisis in many ways. Jonathan, I'd like to move to you because, you know, of course, the impacts of climate change is driving action elsewhere. We often look to Europe for those examples in terms of leading the charge. What do you see in terms of the European market, and what are the sort of key trends?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very honored and pleased. So the European market is very dynamic and mixed as well. There's a lot of players, governments, energy providers, energy distributors, and the consumers, of course. We see a big trend in decarbonization and digitalization, and also decentralization. And challenges as well. So we have targets to achieve for climate change and also for energy security.
So yeah, I mean, there are some pretty ambitious targets that have been set there. We've seen the struggle of even getting sort of renewable energy onto the grid in parts of Europe. What are the other challenges then that this market is facing?
So today, mainly, as you all know, the security of energy supply, because of the diverse landscape of energy sources, is one of the main challenges. Europe is scattered with different energy sources. Not every country has the same development and transition to renewable energies, which has an impact on the economy. So stabilizing the economy to have a secure pathway for energy sources which are not necessarily dependent on export and or of import of energy sources is one of the key challenges. Reducing the cost as well of renewable energy is quite important.
Absolutely, especially in this current climate. And I mean, this is kind of where the role of energy policies really plays a big part here. So where is the focus of the energy policies in the European market?
So today there are two main policies, the European Green Deal and the EU ETS. Basically, this will allow to actually reduce the cost by providing stimulus in the economy in order to achieve the set targets, and also to have reasonable electricity prices for the population.
You've got some examples here of technology and how that plays a part. Where do you see the major breakthroughs in terms of technology in the European market?
So today, decentralization is one of the main aspects in order for populations to be more independent from central electrical grids. Storage, there's a whole supply chain and value chain that is important to achieve those goals. From the production to the storage and to the management of the usage. So we see a lot of trends emerging from small players. So businesses have a major role in this transition.
That's great. Thank you so much for painting that comprehensive picture. Telsaman, I'll move to you. Welcome. Good to see you. You work with lots of businesses. Perhaps you could run us through where are the priorities for businesses? How does the conversation start? And is it really leading by example from Longi's point of view?
Yeah, and this is a very big topic, I think, today. But we can only briefly. And first of all, and for Longi, we produce solar panel, solar module, and also hydrogen applications. What we do is just produce and the equipment for our client to help them to produce green energy. And why solar is very important? Solar energy is very important because solar is a new energy and the raw material for the silicon. For the silicon is reached in the earth. And solar panel and have a very long life. The oldest generation for the solar in China is around 40 years, and it is still work now. And also, solar panel is an amplifier. Why I say this? Because we have calculated, and when you produce the 1 watt solar module, and the energy you use is around 0.45 kilowatt hour. But 1 watt panel can produce around 45 kilowatt hours during all the life cycle. So it can make the energy become green energy and also can produce around 100 times. And Longi now is the biggest solar module producer around the world. And why we can become around the world? And I think the most important is the technology. And we have invested around 20 billion RMB in technology from our company's IPO 10 years before. And for the 10 years, our revenue raised around 74 times. And the last year, we have the revenue around 120 billion RMB. And that's all earned from the technology change. We have broke the record for the efficiency last year, and it's around 26.81%. And it's the highest record around the world. And we know when we raise 1% for the efficiency, and the cost for the energy is reduced around 5%. And during the last 10 years, the solar energy cost reduced around 90%. Now it's become the cheapest energy around the world compared all the energy. Yeah.
I mean, that's key, right? So driving that cost down, making energy equitable, accessible, really it's not just, when the lights go out so we can't watch football, it's really spreading the energy to people who don't have it yet. Yeah. I see you've got a picture behind you of somewhere in Africa, I'm assuming. Where do you see the potential then in emerging markets in terms of that solar rollout?
Yeah, and because now solar energy is very cheap and green, so we want to support all the developing and underdeveloped regions to use the green energy to help them to develop. And also, as Longi, and we produce the product to help our client to solve the energy problem. So we also must pay attention for the ESG for my company, for the Longi. And we have drawn the STVI also for the RE100, EV100, a lot of emitters. And what we want is just use new energy to produce more new energy. That's a slogan for us, is solar for solar. Solar for solar. And for the last year, and we use around 40% green energy to produce our product. The rate is very high because we know in China, and the rate for the new energy now is only around 15%, but we use 47%. And this year, and we will also have our first one, zero carbon emission factory in Yunnan Baoshan. And the factory used around 1 billion kilowatt hour electric last year. So it's a very big factory. And we will step by step do our best in the ESG and for the sustainability. Yeah.
It's very impressive because I think one of the concerns is in the generation of climate technology, we're actually solving one problem but creating another. So it's good to hear that you're making some impact on that side as well. Chris, I'm going to move to you before I get to you, Dr. Howard. Chris, I'm wondering what are sort of those various strategies that businesses can undertake to help promote sustainability? What are the levers that we can pull to really push that ahead?
So first of all, thank you very much for having me in Thailand. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. So there's multiple levers that organizations can deploy to make meaningful impact, right? At Microsoft, we've gone on a 2-decade journey around our sustainability journey. And through that, we've been able to learn and democratize those learnings with our customers. So for instance, we'll speak to Midea. We'll also, I'm sure maybe many of you have heard of Microsoft, and we've started to have conversations with a lot of customers across multiple industries and sectors. And it's going to be quite nuanced to those industries and sectors. There's not a silver bullet or one solution fits all as well. It also depends on your own journey, right? So you might have an organization where, let's say for instance, I was speaking to a customer in Singapore. They have a lot of port operations around the world. And some of those ports, say, in some markets are using 100% renewable energy, right? So that's scope 3 done. Oh, sorry, scope 2 done. But then they might have operations in other markets where renewable energy might not be so readily available. So with Microsoft, we believe sustainability is intrinsically a data challenge, and it's about providing a true sense of your ESG data or your sustainability data.
I mean, we do hear that about the data gap, even with the data that we are producing at the minute, which is immense. Do people know even how to use it? I mean, do they know what to do with it?
I'm going to say the short answer is most of the times not. We're over-inundated with data. We're getting data that we're not sure if there's, again, like I mentioned before, not a sense of truth to it as well. And it's about aggregating the data and actually trying to drive insights from that. Now we've got the advent of generative AI. AI is also progressing quite readily and quite fast, actually, in the last 6 months or so. So being able to sort of take that data, perform machine learning algorithm analytics on that, and actually trying to drive possible solutions that are more related to you as an organization or your particular sector, that's where we're seeing sort of the real value pop up, right? So gone are the days of deploying 10 or 20 data scientists to derive that information. You can now leverage AI machine learning algorithms to do that for you.
I know Jonathan is also a computer geek. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the potential of deep learning. We were talking on the sidelines earlier about quantum. Where do you see that going? Where's the future of that?
So definitely there's a big advancement in computing power thanks to quantum computing. One of the big applications today is quantum AI. Because artificial intelligence tries to mimic our brain, and actually our brain functions in probabilistic way. We don't always, it's built on our experiences. Same thing for quantum computers. They actually take a problem holistically and provide a set of solutions. So quantum AI is definitely something that you're going to hear more about, and that's going to untap new grounds, definitely going to solve a lot of problems.
Chris, Microsoft has got some very ambitious targets as well. How do you impart that knowledge that you're trying to gain internally to your clients, for instance?
Yes, so we do have some published targets that are quite, I'm going to say leading. I think for us, we employ over 220,000 people. We have 47 data centers around the world. And our journey, we haven't got it right all the time, right? So before we used to have proper data centers. Now we've moved them into sort of cloud, and we've also leveraged the benefit of that as well. It really comes down to, again, where we're sharing our collective learnings. So not just Microsoft, but also what have we maybe missed in our journey as well. And I think that's important. One of the aspects is we tapped into thermal energy, right? And it was maybe not the best idea at the time because of the amount of effort and impact it had to the environment at that stage. So then it's sort of looking at maybe other aspects as well.
I think that's. I think there's not going to be a linear path to net zero, and it is going to be trial and error. Dr. Howard, we know that the energy transition is going to need all the tools in the toolbox to achieve. Let's look at electrification specifically. What can that achieve?
So before the electrification, so I would like to say thank you for Gio, for David, for John, for Mr. Ho, and also for Chris to join this fantastic event. Thank you for all to come here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so then, as John just mentioned, for the electrification, for the whole house usage, the solar power, the energy storage system, the electrical vehicles, the clean HVAC system takes the most part of it. And for the electrification, it requires a much higher energy consumption, and also it needs a much more stable energy supply. So can you imagine, in the residential application, in Europe, 78% of the energy was consumed by cooling and heating. In US, more than 72% of the energy was consumed by cooling and heating. So to be the world-leading HVAC company, we have the responsibility to cover this higher energy consumption. Okay, the next question is, okay, so let's move to the electrification. How electrification will benefit Europe? So let's look at several set of data first. From the Solar Power Europe, the current solution for other energy solution provider with PV installation, so 22% of the energy saving is achieved. If we have solar PV and clean HVAC system installed in the house, we can achieve 62% energy consumption. But if we take ESS into consideration, 78% energy consumption was achieved. And 78% is the best now in the market. So I have a question. So 78% is good enough? Well, so how can we deal with the rest 22%?
Yes. I mean, I was just about to ask. What about the 22%? How do we tackle that?
Yes, so the answer is definitely yes. We do have developed a solution which can cover the rest 22% of energy consumption and achieve 100% energy savings. So this is what we call the M-Helios solution. So what is M-Helios stand for? M-Helios is Midea Home Energy Linked Inverter Optimization System. And it's kind of complicated. So let's say it in a more simple way. So Helios is the god of sun in ancient Greek. And M stands for Midea, stands for every single person. So M-Helios also present that we can provide endless renewable energy, solar power to all of our customers all over the world.
So how, I mean, it's a very interesting solution, but how does it work then for the consumer who will be balancing, cost and sustainability? What's the benefit to them?
Okay, so before I go to the sustainability, let me introduce a little bit about the whole system. And Dr. Tang Jian just give a brief idea of how the whole system is working with AI technology. So in M-Helios system, we can see in the middle figure, the energy manager and the energy storage system are the core parts of the whole system. So with our deployed intelligent algorithms, the energy manager can convert excess power to either install in the energy storage or drive the clean HVAC system to convert into heating, cooling, hot water, or even to be stored in the electrical vehicle application. So by this comprehensive and complicated AI algorithms, we can achieve a unified energy management system.
So you've outlined this this system here, and just moving to that, balancing again that profitability and the sustainability challenge. What's next for Midea in the creation of green solutions?
Okay, so you might have a question. So the system sounds great. So how about the profitability and the sustainability? So I would say the profitability now is the best in the market. Comparing to the current solution we have in the market, we can achieve 2 years less the payback period, which is 30% more compared to the solution. And for the annual cost, we can achieve as high as 5,830, which is 38% more in the market. And for the sustainability, for one single house with our M-Helios system, can avoid 95 tons of carbon dioxide emissions. And this equals to 125 tons of trees to be planted in the earth. So let's imagine one house with M-Helios. What about hundreds, thousands, millions, and billions? So we can really change the world.
So what's next after profitability, sustainability? Where do we go from here? And the Midea journey.
Okay, so this is our next step. So M-Helios is not only a system, but also an ecosystem for our partners to cooperate together. We call this Green Tech Nexus. So what is the Green Tech Nexus stand for? So it's a closed loop ecosystem for supply chain cooperation, for partnership operation, and for the ESG practicing, and also for the channel sharings. So under the Midea Green Tech Nexus, we can cooperate with our partners to provide an entire and green solution to all over the world.
Thank you so much, Howard, for that great presentation. That's great. If you'd like to take a seat. I have one final question for you all. What does a net zero world look like?
Well, I'm not an expert in the subject, but I think we will have a beautiful world, and according to all the efforts all these companies are making, like Microsoft, like Longi and Midea, I think it's going to be a brilliant future. And finally, my slogan, like "There's no planet B," it has been taken into account. So it's really important.
Jonathan, what's your net zero world looking like?
Well, in my belief, I think it's together. So all countries need to work together hand in hand. Innovative, because innovation brings what we need to solve the problem. Equitable and sustainable, and cost effective.
Thank you. Dalsaman, another big question for you.
Yeah, and last year, and the total amount for the installation for the PV generation is 1 terawatt for the past 40 years around the world. I predict in 2028, around the world, 1 year, we can install around 1 terawatt for the panel. So what I want to mean is we can use new technology to solve the climate problem. And we also like to invite all the good partners, such as Midea and also Microsoft and all the partners and together to face the challenge of the climate change. And we can solve the problem and reduce the carbon emission together.
Thank you. Hopeful. Howard, you're up. What does your net zero world look like?
So we change the sequence.
Just to keep you on your toes.
Okay. So actually, my answer is already shouted out my answers. But if I need to summarize the net zero homes, I would use 4 S. The first S is simple. The second S is smart. The third S is secure. The fourth S is stable for the future net home, for the future zero net home.
I love that. Thank you. And Chris?
So when I look at a net zero future, I look at it and I go, it's going to be a happier and healthier place for us all, for us and our future generations. And I believe that the path there will be through technology, but also collectively as societies, as nations, and as people.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very hopeful insight and note to leave on. And thank you so much to our esteemed panel, David, Jonathan, Tasman, Howard, Chris. Thank you so much for your time and your valuable insights. We are in the grip of the climate crisis. Now is the time to act. We have some great technologies here to help us get there. But we have really learned today that we need that ecosystem of businesses, the consumer, as well as policymakers to really turn the needle, move the needle on climate action. So that's quite a powerful trinity of players we've got. Thank you so much again to the panel. Thank you so much to the esteemed audience, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.